This is a 7-night, 8-day trip in Washington's North Cascades, going through the Pacific Crest Trail, the Pacific Northwest Trail, through the Pasayten Wilderness and North Cascades National Park. Technically, it's Ross Lake Recreation Area and not the national park, but it's managed by NPS, so it counts. It's a pretty exciting trip, I know, because I'm on day 6 currently, is when I'm recording this, but it features lots of physical ups and downs, elevation gain and loss, lots of weather ups and downs, lots of emotional ups and downs, mostly corresponding to the weather. There's a lot of great scenery. It's a really choice section of the PCT, and as you can see right now, some very choice sections of the Pacific Northwest Trail. Hopefully, the days that I haven't experienced yet are pretty great as well. But I hope you enjoy.
3 years ago, in the midst of a summer job, I had the bright idea to take my 30-year-old 80-liter pack and try and do a one-night backpacking trip with it all by my lonesome. Despite committing more mistakes than I can count, carrying more pounds than I'd like to count, and describing the trip overall as a complete disaster, I came out of the experience with a backpacking itch demanding to be scratched. Now, there are many fewer mistakes these days and significantly less pack weight, and somehow, 3 years later, I find myself at both the beginning and culmination of a dream, completing a week-long backpacking trip deep within the wilds of Washington State.
I think that's where I'm going. Cutthroat Pass. First and hopefully not the last blueberries of the trip. Cutthroat Pass. Just looking east towards the fires. It's quite smoky. Back where I came from. Here's the trail junction with Cutthroat Lake. You can see the trail's blocked off. It's closed because it's too close to the fire, but the lake itself, it's a cute little thing down there. And Highway 20 passes on the other side of this ridge, between it and the far ridge. And just dead center, you can see beyond the far ridge to the far ridge, and that's Fire Central right now. And there's my path. And the chopper flying down there, dead center. Just wheeled around Cutthroat Lake and is heading back out now. You can see the smoke rising down there. That is very close to where the road is. That's wild. On a more positive note, I have these fantastic views of the Needles and whatever these are called, which I'll probably look up later, but can't complain. Looks like I'll be following this ridge down to Granite Pass, and then you can kind of follow the trail line all along here up to Metho Pass, where I'll drop back down. I'm gonna camp over there tonight, and there's this cool valley that I'll be walking around. All right, I looked up what these are called. This is Tower Mountain. It's interesting, if you look at it, right in the middle there, it almost looks like there's an eye there. We got Barradur over here. And then that is Mount Hardy. Granite Pass as it begins to sprinkle on me. Here's Lower Snowy Lake. I'll be camping somewhere around here tonight. Nestled beneath Tower Mountain from another angle. Here's the valley. In the morning I gotta head back down there a little ways, and then I'll follow that and then eventually cross up and over and head down into the valley on the opposite side. And here's Upper Snowy Lake. We can see a little sneak peek of some of the views of tomorrow down the other side of that valley. So, day one is pretty much in the books. I still need to make dinner and sleep, but we did it. I think it was a really great day. There were a couple surprises to me. The first was the relative lack of people on the trail. There was one car in the parking lot when we showed up, which, I mean, that can be explained a little bit by A, through hikers aren't going to be using cars, and B, the fires mean that the road is closed on the other side of the pass, so there's no through traffic and the smoke is scaring people off. But I mean, we got there at like 11 a.m. on a Saturday, on the last day of July. There should have been more people there. So fewer day hikers, also fewer through hikers. I must be further ahead of the bubble than I thought. And the through hikers that I did see, there were like 3 southbound guys that passed me. Probably not doing the whole thing. It's a bit late to be starting a whole southbound. And then a couple guys who were going northbound who told me not to come up here. They had come up to, what was it called? Cutthroat Pass or somewhere, or gotten at least up enough to see it, and turned around because of the smoke, and they said that you can't see anything, it smells terrible, yada yada. And I get what they're saying, you can't see as much, and it does smell like smoke, but it's not that bad. I don't know why you would turn around. And I'm obviously on a timetable because I'm not through hiking the whole thing. I don't have months to, spend days just chilling. So I'm a bit confused by what they were talking about. Maybe they're just used to the pristine air conditions that have occupied the first part of their hike. Weirdest part, first guy I saw was coming south toward me. He had a little backpack on, so he was probably a day hiker. And except for his hat, he was completely naked. He had a little handkerchief in his hand that he used to cover himself as he passed me. But, I mean, I was very confused, basically. Because again, he's passing me at like 11:30 on a Saturday. He's got to assume there's going to be a good number of people on the trail, unless he just doesn't care. But that does seem like a good way to eventually be labeled a sex offender. So it doesn't seem like a great plan to me, but that was really weird, not expecting that. I know on the PCT there are like hike naked days that some people participate in. But again, this guy, I'm pretty sure was just a day hiker. I think he was the guy whose one car was at the trailhead when we got there. Other than that, the first big up, there's about 2,000 feet of gain up to Cutthroat Pass, and that went way better than I was expecting. I think we can attribute the trekking poles that Alyssa got me for my birthday, attribute that to them. They really took a big load off my legs, and I've been really grateful, and I think I'll be really happy to have those throughout the rest of the hike. Although coming up to these lakes is a spur trail, and I discovered, or rather rediscovered, that they're a lot less useful when the trail isn't super well groomed and flat, because there's all branches hitting them and whatnot. But it was a really good day. This is exactly where I wanted to camp tonight. So the goal of day one is accomplished. We're in. It's a beautiful day today. In terms of spectacular peaks, might be the best day of the trip. You saw them. I showed it to you. There's a whole bunch here. It's a shame it's so smoky. But I did appreciate the clouds and the smoke providing shade, because it was supposed to be 88 at the pass where I started today. And that would not have been fun to do all that climbing. But I'd say it's been a really good day. It's been a really successful day. I was definitely feeling it at the end, getting my legs under me. But I do feel like I generally have my legs under me. I feel like I'm in shape for this, and the first day helped to confirm that. Plus the trekking poles, of course. But yeah, great first day. Good morning from me and my beautiful hat hair. Day number 2. It is raining. It's supposed to rain all day, and it's supposed to get worse than it is right now. You might notice that you can't hear any drops. There was a sudden lull right as I started recording. It's about 6 a.m. and I'd rather get ready now in the lull, or at least in the lighter rain, than try and wait around as it's supposed to get heavier. So it's going to be a soggy day. There's going to be very little filming as a result of that, I expect. So let's begin. We're packed up. Packing up in the rain always sucks, although there's a lull right now, which naturally means the bugs have come out. You can see it's still smoky and foggy cloudy now, which is always fun. But now we can get started with today. Woohoo. Here's a mama mountain chicken. I saw either a male or another species of these already today. Sorry about the fog, but this is both fog, smoke, and my camera lens being foggy itself. But over here, if I can find them, there's babies. That brown blob right in the middle. There, I cleaned the lens so you can see a lot better now. There's the baby. It's a little puffball. When you come upon them, they freeze until you're right next to them, and then they fly away. They fly so slowly. Little puffballs, I think. There's another one right there. Yep, you saw it move. Then let's pan over to Mama. Sorry, my camera settings are being funky. Hi, Mama. Willis Camp, apparently. Seems like a nice spot, but not for me. This might be a real-life beaver dam. It also might not be. Hard to tell. But I've only ever seen those in Colorado before. Alright, I've made it up to what is almost Grasshopper Pass, although this isn't technically it. It's actually lower than I am now. But I'm at this up ridge. Here's what I just climbed up. Down there where all those clouds are going, that's a glacier pass that I had to climb up before I climbed up here. You can see this mountain here, but you could see just how hazy it is. Smoky and cloudy, which is a real bum deal. Here's the drainage on the other side of the ridge I just climbed. You might be able to make out a line across that hillside as the PCT continues north. If it was clear, not on that ridge line, but on the one past it, we could see the road leading up to Hart's Pass that Alyssa and I have driven up, that eventually I'll intersect. Day number 2. As you can see, I've set up camp here. I have a much better hammock spot this time, although I didn't show you last night's hammock spot. It was not good. Yeah, today was one for the record books. It was not a good day. It was really pretty miserable. I knew today was supposed to be the rainy day, and it sure was. It rained a good chunk of the morning, probably until like 10, which in and of itself, that was quite nice that it stopped. The forecast said to expect rain pretty much the whole day, and for it to stop was an extra blessing. Why was today a bad day? The wet, super uncomfortable, super wet feet, wet shoes the whole time. The downfall in the Metho Valley. The Metho Valley is one of the worst sections of trail I have ever had the misfortune to hike through. A ton of downfall, way more than I would have expected for something as popular as the PCT. So lots of clambering up and down, over and around fallen trees, and a ton of thick underbrush that you have to wade through. Now on a hot afternoon, that's a little annoying. It kind of tickles your feet, it tickles your legs, but it's not a big deal. However, in the morning after it's rained, or during the rain, it's just covered in droplets that wipe against your legs, against your upper legs, against your shoes, and if you're really unlucky and they're big enough, it goes against your torso and arms and shoulders too, and it just soaks you completely through. And there was so much of that today. My initial plan was to camp at Glacier Pass, when I was planning out the trip. However, I got to Glacier Pass and I was basically so grumpy and having such a bad day. I was, what I was describing it as was I was hiking angry. Plus, I had a bunch of day left, so I just decided to forge on. Why else was today a bad day? I mentioned yesterday that the trekking poles have been a huge blessing. Well, one of the gifts that all the downfall, all the blowdowns in the Methyl Valley gave me was this, which is fun. As I was clambering over some logs, this got jammed in between them and I slipped and it bent, which sucks. I was bummed about this. I got these like 3 days ago as a gift. I'm bummed for Alyssa, who gave them to me. It's gotta be frustrating. However, I did feel like a prayer was answered because a couple miles later, I found this. Just an extra trekking pole that was left in a campsite. So I am not without trekking poles. And the extra advantages that I was talking about that they give you, I still have. The only difference now is now I have to carry an extra one, at least until I find, if there's trash at Hearts Pass, I might toss it. I haven't decided yet. I might be able to return it since it's so new, or get a refund or something, exchange it. But the rain has stopped. It's actually kind of dry here, which is glorious. The sun was popping out for maybe an hour that I was here, which was awesome, helped me to dry my stuff. I wasn't expecting to get any actual real sunshine until tomorrow at noon at the earliest. Of course, real sunshine means I can barely see the sun through the smoke, and there's tiny patches of blue through the smoke that I can also see, which it really is a bummer how smoky it is. The visibility has absolutely tanked today compared to yesterday. But yeah, I'm happy to be done with today. Hoping my feet hold up for tomorrow. Day number 2 is in the books. Oh, and I never gave you numbers. I meant to stop at Glacier Pass, which is about another 10-mile day. But where I am right now, I think it's unnamed, but I turned it into about a 15-mile day. I went down 2,600 feet. I came back up another like 2,400 feet. The exciting part about my extension of the hike is that I'm done with the two big climbs of this whole trip. The climb on the first day and the climb on the second day. From here on out, there are some climbs left, and there's one huge descent, but mostly they're little bitty climbs, and I'm just staying on ridge tops the whole time. So that's really nice to be done with that. But now we can conclude day 2.